The Swedish police have released a map of 55 areas which they admit to having surrendered total control of to predominantly Muslim criminal gangs. These areas have long had problems with other public service officials such as mailmen and firefighters when they've been attacked, when they've tried to enter these areas, but now it is the police themselves that are being attacked. Now, these no-go zones, we're going to pull it up on the map here, are primarily called exclusion areas, which coincide almost exactly with the 186 ghettos that have sprung up around Sweden in the past 2 decades. And we can see them on the map here. Some of them are highlighted. So, Mark, this is a really sort of troubling development for Sweden, a country that prides itself on having a robust welfare state, a country that offers free Swedish language lessons to immigrants in these areas. There was a number of riots in 2013, over the summer of 2013, in these areas as well. And it seems as though the situation has got worse rather than got better. And the police are literally pulling back, and they are not going into these areas. They're not going to police these. These are now becoming what's rather troublingly being referred to as sort of self-governing areas, being likened, the analogy being likened to somewhere in rural Italy in the mafia, where if you have a problem, you go to the local mafia boss. There's justice is handed out by these criminal gangs.
Yeah, it's sort of an inherent problem of this open immigration policy that they have, where they're allowing people in specifically from countries, a Middle Eastern area where there's political strife, human rights violations, war, and so they're having sort of an open policy of receiving people who then, don't have opportunities and are reliant upon government services, but they don't integrate necessarily into the culture, and now there are whole areas where people are even warned, don't go there. It's not safe for you.
Yeah, it's making. I can't see how this is helpful in any way, shape, or form. I mean, one of the obvious issues to focus on is unemployment. And unemployment in Sweden, they've been battling against it. They've been trying. Again, they're fighting like the most of Europe against the recession and feeling as though they've been winning that battle. It seems as though perhaps the numbers are being skewed erroneously and incorrectly. Unemployment is spiked in these particular areas. So again, that highlights the fact that these communities are not integrated in any meaningful way into mainstream Swedish society. And
it's why you're seeing the rise of ultranationalism in a lot of the European countries, where immigration has this open door policy, and then there's a resentment on behalf of the white natives of the land,
Right.
and there's rising ultranationalism that is really going to lead to further conflicts, and this is not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. It's a difficult no-win situation, because they're a very sort of liberal policy of allowing people in who are fleeing from countries where their lives are really miserable, and they have the liberal policy of then, taking care of people if they don't have an opportunity to have a job. But then you have this violence where there's no opportunity as well, and it creates this conflict.
Yeah, and as I said, most of these areas, not all of them exclusively Muslim, and they're predominantly Muslim areas. The rest of them are overrun by criminal gangs who their main business seems to be dealing drugs. One of the other criticisms that has come from some right-wing quarters is the fact that it seems to be somewhat over-heavily self-censorship of the press, because the Swedish press apparently haven't been particularly vociferous in articulating or in highlighting this problem. And one of the issues is that as a self-regulating body and the self-regulating union of journalists, they have been very quick keen not to be criticizing or critiquing this in any way, shape or form, for fear of exactly what you're saying, of being critical of an immigration policy. And so the right-wing press have said, well, this is just demonstrably unfair. Any articulation or any statement saying that this is, highlighting this problem is seen as being something that is being seen as racist, being as unfair. So there is some question mark as to the openness, free communication that the press is having on this issue. And again, I don't see how that can really help the situation. And again, it has to be as I said, that criticism has come from the right wing. They also claim that was one of the reasons why Fox News, apparently Fox News has been banned or has been censored in Sweden. This is what I was reading, and I'd love to know whether the veracity of that. But Fox is available in Sweden, a Fox channel, but it's a much more watered down version, and it doesn't quite have that right-wing premise or that right-wing polemic that we have in this country for those stated reasons. Anyway, let us know your thoughts. Let us know whether you think there is a way through this in terms of social integration. And as always, thanks for being with us here at the Lib TV.